Hello dear participants, I welcome you all in this lecture number 7. Title of this lecture is coding. This lecture will address following questions. First question, what are codes? Next question, why to give codes? Next question, how to give codes? And last question, can we apply coding on any type of data? So this lecture will try to answer all these questions. Objective of this lecture is to make you familiar with coding process. So let me start with the meaning of coding. What is coding? Coding involves assigning numbers to responses or attributes. Now here is one example. If we consider one variable, gender, there are three attributes to gender. What is the meaning of attribute? Attribute means they are the possible responses of that particular variable. Now here are the possible responses. Either we are getting response in this category, that is male, or we are getting the response in this category, female, or we are getting a response in this category, that is transgender. There is no fourth category. It is not classified. That fourth category is not there. It will not be there. It means we have covered all the categories which are the possible categories in response that will be getting for gender, and that is why we call it, all these categories are exhaustive. All these attributes are exhaustive. What does that mean? Exhaustive means all the possible responses that we have covered here in these attributes. There will be no fourth option available. That is called exhaustive. One more characteristic of this attribute is mutually exclusiveness. What is mutually exclusiveness? There will be no overlapping. Uh, if a particular respondent opt for this category, then at the same time he cannot opt for other category like female or transgender. Or if someone opt for transgender, then at the same time he cannot opt for the other category that we have offered. So that is the meaning of mutually exclusiveness. Fine. Now let me take you to the coding. Now here are the codes. What is the meaning of code? Code is nothing but it is simply that we assign some number to identify our attributes. And why we assign these numbers? Because MS Excel or SPSS kind of software, they are only comfortable with these numbers. They only recognize these attributes on the basis of these numbers. That is why we are using these numbers. Now, is there any thumb rule that what number should we use? There is no thumb rule. You can exchange all the numbers here. For example, if someone can give 3 this number to male, 2 to female, and 4 to transgender, no problem at all. It depends on you that which number that you wish to assign to that particular attribute. So that is the way that we go with the coding. Now what care should we take while we are coding? There are some important points here that we have mentioned. First point, usually you should use single digits to assign codes. You should not use codes like 311, 312, 313. These things can lead you for more complications or the confusion kind of thing. So make it easy, make it simple. Just give simple numbers, use single digits to assign codes. Fine. Second important point is that use optimum size of categories. Don't make many categories. In my opinion, if you are categorizing your data, that particular variable, you should categorize, your categories should be less than 10. So it becomes easy for you while you are analyzing your data. Fine. Third point, exhaustive attributes and their codes. Already we have seen the meaning of exhaustiveness in the previous slide. So your attributes should be exhaustive, and accordingly you should assign codes. Fine. Then mutually exclusive attributes. Meaning of this already we have seen in the previous slide, and accordingly you should assign the codes. Then there is no numeric significance to codes. What does that mean? If I have assigned say that 0 to male, then 1 to female, and 3 to transgender, then if I go to number, then 3 seems to be greater than 1 and 1 is greater than 0. It doesn't mean that transgender is greater than female and female is greater than male in some context. No, we cannot interpret like this. These numbers are nothing but that we have assigned this number to recognize these attributes. So there is no specific numeric significance to these codes. Fine. And the last important point, that usually we should avoid any other category. Why should we avoid any other category in our questionnaire? Because if we are using any other category, then we are losing exhaustiveness. For example, if I am asking my respondent, which bike do you like most? And I have classified my data like this: Hero, Honda, Splendor, suppose, and the other bike is, say, that Pulsar. Fine. And third category is any other. Fine. And code I have assigned is 1, 2 and 3. Will it be a fruitful data? Will it give us a very useful information? If most of the respondents opt for this, then we are again confused. That means we are not getting proper answer that which bike that our respondents are referring to, because there are other companies also, like there is CBZ, or there are like Unicorn, or there are many other bikes. Fine, but we have mentioned here any other is including other options too, so exhaustiveness loses here. So your attributes should be exhaustive and they should be mutually exclusive. Usually we should avoid any other category. In rare cases, when there is no choice, then we can use any other category. There is no problem in that. Now let me take you to the sample coded questionnaire. This is a sample coded questionnaire that we have taken from the NSSO data. It was a survey, PDS survey in 2011. Now, when we add codes in our questionnaire, then, and if we go into the field, and if I am asking my respondent, how much is your age? Now, this is a scale data. So, I'll get the exact response, like in years, someone will respond like 24 years is the age of that particular respondent. Fine. Now, when I'll go to categorical data, when I'm asking for a gender, then if I observe or if I ask my respondent that what is your gender, and that respondent responds that she is female, then I'll have to just put a code here. There is no need to write female, correct? Then if I ask educational level, again I'll have to just put code here, that is 3. Then marital status, simply I'll have to put code 1. Religion, say that I'll have to put code 2. Category 3. Now what are these numbers? You can observe. This is very simple. This is the fastest way that we can enter our data in questionnaire, and the same is true when we are entering our data in MS Excel or in SPSS. So this is the fastest way that we can enter data, and this is the easiest way to enter this data. Now what are codes? This code is nothing but this is assigned number, and this represents what? It represents female. This 3 number 3, it represents what? That the education level is primary for that particular respondent. 1, what is 1? That is this attribute married. They all are attributes. And we have assigned a particular number to these attributes. What is this 2? 2 belongs to this category, Muslims, and 3, that this category belongs to OBC. Fine. So that is the way that we go with the coding. Now here is one important question, that whether we should assign codes before survey or after survey. In my opinion, before going into the field, you should assign your codes in your interview schedule or questionnaire, and then you should go into the field, because it becomes easy for us to assign the codes only. Now when we are collecting data on the scale, then we cannot assign codes here. Many times I observe that in in many research, they categorize the age data. usually we should avoid to make categories for the scale data. We should collect proper scale data using our questionnaire or the interview schedule, and then when you are entering data into MS Excel, there you can make some categories for some sort of analysis purpose. Fine. So what I mean to say, that we'll see when we'll in actual will deal with the data. Fine. Now let me take you to further slide. So what is code book? There is one more concept, code book. Fine. What is code book? Code book provides all details about the coding. It provides all details about the coding. Means it will explain you the variable number, name of the variable, what attributes you considered, and what numbers you assign to that particular attribute. All it includes in a code book. So you should prepare a separate code book in your computer, or in separately in hard copy too. You can prepare, no problem with that. So what is code book? Codebook is a coding scheme. It represents the coding scheme that we have prepared. It contains attribute and their codes. Moreover, it includes variable name, a variable number, and many other things. Fine. It lead you to efficient data entry. It will lead you to efficient data entry, and it works as a reference sheet for us, because when we are entering our data in MS Excel or SPSS, and when we are giving some codes there too, then it works, codebook works as a reference sheet for us. Fine. Now here is one sample code book, and here are the variable numbers. Suppose I am having some interview schedule with me, and in interview schedule my question number 1 was gender. So I assigned here variable number 1 means that question number 1, variable name is gender. Here are the attributes, and here are the codes that I assigned. Story is same with the second variable. Question number 2 is that what is your marital status? So that variable name is here. So here are the attributes, and here are the numbers. Fine. So this is the way we prepare sample code book, or we prepare code book. Fine. Now let me take you to the actual coding in MS Excel. How can we code using MS Excel? Now here is a sample worksheet. This sample worksheet will be shared with you for the practice purpose, so that you will also practice using the same data which I am using here. Now here, suppose I just want to give codes to my nominal variable, that is gender. Purposely I have used here 3 different variables. First variable gender is a nominal variable. Second variable satisfaction level of a product, particular product, is a ordinal variable, and third is age, that is scale variable. Now in this lecture we'll see that how can we give codes to the nominal, ordinal, and scale variable. Fine. Now let me start with the first variable, that is gender, and that is nominal variable. Here for male I have assigned number 0, and for female I have assigned number 1. Now simply I'll go here on the second column B. I'll right click here. As I right click, here appears different options. Now I'll click on insert. As I click on insert, a new empty column appears in between gender and satisfaction. Now what I'll do, simply I'll write here the name, that is gender C. And what is gender C? Gender C will be the coded gender data, and then I'll assign the respective numbers to these responses. So suppose I have put all the numbers here. Now male, you can see that the male, this 0, it represents that respondent is male. This one represents that the respondent is female, and that is the way that we allocate all these numbers. Fine. Story is same with the satisfaction. Now if I just want to give the codes to satisfaction, then what I did, that I saw that what are my categories: very satisfied, satisfied, neutral, unsatisfied, and very unsatisfied. What are the characteristics of these attributes? They are mutually exclusive, means if one respondent is opting for this, he is not opting for any other. That is mutually exclusive. What is exhaustive? There is no sixth category. There is no sixth category. My respondent will answer in any one of these five. Fine. So here we have assigned codes 1, 2, 3. Here it is 4 actually, and then 5, and these codes are here. 4 is associated with unsatisfied, 2 is associated with satisfied, and that is the way that we enter our data. That is the way that we enter our data. And why we are using codes? Because MS Excel and SPSS are familiar with, they are comfortable with the numbers, and they will treat these numbers only and will get some fruitful result. That is why we are working on the coding part. Fine. Now let me take you all to the interesting part, that is how can we give codes to the scale variable. First question, can we give codes to the scale variable? Can we give codes to the scale variable? Answer is absolutely yes, we can give codes to the scale variable. And how to give that? Let me explain you now. So, to give coding, first mention the variable name here, age C. Now, if you look at the variable, this age, there are different numbers, 27, 32, 32, there are plenty of numbers. And this is the sample size here. Here the respondents, here are the 50 respondents. So, number of observations are 50. There are 50 respondents here in this worksheet. And there are different ages of each of the respondent. There are different ages of the each of the respondent has mentioned separate age. Fine. Now, how will I give code here for the age? To before giving code, you will have to compute maximum value from this variable age and the minimum value from this age. Suppose I'll get something here and I'll get something here, then I'll see how much is the gap. Now whatever is the minimum value, I'll make one group from this number, and then I'll consider that how much is my maximum value, and there I'll stop my coding. Last group will be, means what will be my last group? It depends on the maximum value. What will be my starting category? It will depends on the minimum value. Now question comes, how to compute max and min? How to compute maximum value and minimum value here on the scale data? Now let me explain you that part. Here first we'll use one function. That function is there in MS Excel. Simply you will have to give equal to sign, and then you will have to type max. As you are typing, that function appears here. Simply you will have to click on this max, and then you will have to collect the data, complete data of age from this point 27 onward. Then you will have to close the bracket and just simply press enter. As you press enter, your maximum value, maximum age appears here, and that is 58. Then the same way, using the same process, will compute minimum value. And to compute minimum value, simply we will have to put equal to sign first, then we'll have to type here min, min, then double click on that function and just select the data, age data, close the bracket and just press enter. As I press enter, now I got the maximum and minimum value. Fine. So 58 is the highest age that I have received from my respondent, and 18 is the lowest age I have received from my respondent. Now how will I go for the categories? Now I know that the minimum is 18, so there is no one who is having less than 18 age. So I can start with a group 10 to 20. Or if I am making here is the gap of 10, correct? Here the gap of, means between upper limit and lower limit, the gap is of the 10 years. Fine. If someone is going with the gap of 5, then how should I design my first category? It should be 15 to 20. 15 to 20. Now which category should we go with? It depends on you. You can opt for this or you can opt for this, no problem with that. Now where what will be the last category? Last category depends on my maximum value, that is 58. Now if I'm going with the gap of 10, then last category will be 50 to 60. 50 to 60, because that 58 number lies somewhere here in between these two, and there is no respondent who is having age more than this 58, because this is the maximum value that we have computed. And if you are considering the gap between these two numbers as a 5, then it will be 55 to 60, because this 58, it lies somewhere between these two numbers. Fine. So this is the way that we prepare categories for the scale data. Now let me take you further. So here are the different two designs that here is the gap of 10 and here is the gap of 5. Fine. You can use any one. If you are going with this, it will give you more attractive graphs. Fine. And some more means explanatory kind of information from the result. And if you are using this, it will give you some concise results, and it depends on how what type of explanation that actually you want to explain. Depends on you. You can choose this, you can choose this, no problem. Fine. Now so far this data is concerned, we are going to consider this categorization. Now I'll go further and I'll just allocate, I'll assign those numbers here. Now how to interpret these numbers? See, when I'm seeing this respondent belongs to third category. Where is the third category? Here, right? This respondent also belongs to this third category. Now if I look at the numbers 32 and 35, there is a difference between the age. Still they both are in the same group, that is 3. And here is the problem with the coding. Here is the problem with the categorization. And what is the problem? Here we are losing some data details. What type of data details that we are losing? We are considering both the respondents in the same group, and we are losing that yes, there is a difference between these two, but both the numbers we are considering same in the same category. Fine. And that is why when we are using this coded data, it is having some limitations for the explanation. And that is why earlier I said that if you are having some variables that easily we can collect the information in a scale format, in actual format, then we should collect that first. And if you feel that we should go with the categorization for some sort of a frequency tables and to show the graphs, you can generate that thing here in MS Excel. But when you are going into the field, if variable, that particular variable is a scale variable, then you should collect the data in scale format only. Fine. In real numbers only. Anyhow, I hope you understood this, that here what we explained in the previous slides, we explained that how can we give codes to the nominal data, how can we give codes to the ordinal data, and how can we give codes to the scale data. Fine. So that part we have covered here. Now let me take you to the further slide. Now if I remove all the alphabetical data and if I considers only the coded data, fine, and if I import this data in SPSS, then we can go for the statistical treatment, and that part we'll see in that separate lecture. Fine. When we'll enter into the SPSS. Objective of this lecture is to make you familiar with coding only. Now let me take you to the sorting data in MS Excel, and this is also very essential, that if we have coded data, then we should be familiar with the sorting of the data. How to sort data? Let me explain you using this sample worksheet. Here we'll go using two different methods. Initially I'll explain you using this presentation, and then we'll go to actual MS Excel sheet, and there also I'll demonstrate you that how can we sort the same sample data which I'm explaining here in the presentation. Fine. So here is the data. How to sort data? To sort the data, first you will have to select this data. So first I'll have to select whole data. Then simply I'll have to go to data. I'll have to click here on the data menu. Then here you will find that there is one option sort. Simply I'll click on sort. As I click on sort, a new pop-up window appears. And in this new pop-up window, here is one option sort by. I will have to click here on this arrow. I have selected whole data. I have selected complete data. Now, if I click on this arrow, all the variables are enlisted here. All the variables appears here. Now, this is very small sample data set. Correct. If we are having plenty of variables, all the variables will get enlisted here. Now, out of which, suppose if I click on age C, suppose I just want to sort my all data using coded age, fine. And here if I choose smallest to largest and if I press OK, you can see that now my data is sorted considering age codes. What does that mean? It means the smallest code 1, the first category comes first. There are only 2 responses from the first category and their respective characteristics are here, satisfaction or gender, other variables. Now second category is having that many respondents and their characteristics are here. Their respective characteristics are there. Same story with the 3 and 4 and 5 because we have sorted this data. How to sort, that will demonstrate using actual MS Excel in the same lecture. Fine. Now before that, let me go ahead and explain you one more function, that is filter. How to use filter function? Simply you will have to select this first row. You will have to select this first row. Why first row? Because in the first row there are the variable names. All the variable names are there in first row. So I have selected this first row. Then I'll go to data, and in data you will find that there is one option filter. Simply you will have to click here on the filter. If I click here on the filter, you can observe that the design of this cell, these cells in the first row get changed. Here in each cell there is one arrow. Now suppose if I go here to the satisfaction variable, this column, satisfaction column, and if I press on this arrow, as I press on this arrow, I get some different options like sort smallest to largest, sort largest to smallest, and sort by color. There are many things. You can play with this. Now for simple understanding, for sorting purpose, if I click on sort smallest to largest, fine, then I'll click on OK, and it will go like this. Now very satisfied came first, then satisfied, and accordingly. Now this is simply the sorting process. You can go to age or static C or gender C. Fine. That way you can go for the filter thing. Now let me take you all to the MS Excel sheet, and here we'll demonstrate what we have learned, how to sort the things. Now for the first part, sorting the complete data, I'll select whole data. There are 50 respondents, and then I'll go to data. I'll click on data, then I'll click on sort. As I click on sort, new pop-up window appears, and here on the right hand side corner, please pay attention to this part. My data has headers. What does that mean? Headers means the topest row is having variable names with you. So here is the tick mark. If you have observed that in all the MS Excel sheets which we have used earlier, I am writing all my variable names in the first row only. What is the reason? Reason is that is the way only we give treatment to the data, because that is the way it will helpful to us when we'll be importing data into SPSS. So always try to put your all variables in the first row. Fine. Then I'm going to click here on this sort by. Now if I click on sort by, then I'll go to HC, then smallest to largest. There are different options, so I'll opt for smallest to largest and then I'll click on OK. And here you can see that the data for this HC been sorted out. Fine. Now how to use filter function? Simply I'll select these variables. First row I have selected, then I'll go to data, I'll click on data and then I'll go to filter. I'll click on filter and here the filter is now applied to all these things. Now I'll go to say that here SATC, I'll click on this sort smallest to largest. As I click on sort smallest to largest, it has appeared. Fine, it has appeared. Where is satisfied first, satisfied, and that way. Now in the presentation we have seen that when I clicked here and when I said sort smallest to largest, it was there in the presentation. Fine, and it has shown the same result. Actually, if I am going to the alphabetical data, here it appears sort A to Z. Fine, if I click on A to Z, it takes first alphabet in sequence. First comes first, that N, then S, and accordingly it has been sorted the data. If I go to the numeric data, it asks me to sort smallest to largest. Fine. So that is the way we can sort and we can use the sort function and filter function in MS Excel. Now let me take you all back to the presentation, and here is the last slide. So I hope that this lecture could answer all these questions. What are cores? Why to give cores? How to give cores? And can we apply coding on any type of data? See, answer to last question is that yes, we can apply coding to any type of data, but it depends on us that why we actually coding. What is the purpose? Usually, whenever we give codes, that coded data is only means using that coded data we can only give few statistical treatments, like we can use frequency table or some kind of graphs that we can draw. Fine, and that is why we use coding, but it depends on us that whether we wish to give codes to scale data or not. It depends on us. Fine. So I hope you all enjoyed this lecture and you have understood all this part. So for this lecture is concerned, we'll stop here and we'll see in next lecture introduction to SPSS. So thank you for your kind listening and attending this session. Thank you.